It's official!
I tell people all the time, lawyering is not who I am. It's what I do, but it's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm at the point where I cannot even recognize myself, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I have to make that transition. That I didn't tell a lot of people about my decision to leave until it was time.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I were talking months before because you could hear it.
Yeah.
You could hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
Be like, what's going on? The way that you said your husband did not rush you, you know, that was kind of the grace that you gave me.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, we're going to talk in March. I hear it in her voice. What's going on, Octavia? Okay, we're going to talk again in May.
Yeah.
I hear it in her voice. What's going on, Octavia? And then finally June or July, it's like, okay, I didn't have this conversation. I'm getting ready. I got to pivot. I got to go. And I remember this the telephone conversation we had. You were like, I knew it was going to happen, but it had to happen in your own time.
Listeners and our viewers, like, how do you find the strength to actually balance it off?
For me personally, I start each day with a devotion and quiet time, you know, praying or thinking about my day. Then I move into, I have become more dedicated to goal planning and not just huge, you know, goals that are very, you know, like, oh, I want to do, you know, $1 million in business. No, what I have been doing more recently is becoming very intentional about breaking down those goals into quarterly goals, and then from there, weekly goals, and then everyday steps that I take that I'm inching more closer and closer to that overall goal, you know. And so every morning, and I have a script, my mantra, you know, that I read every morning.
Montoya's mantra.
Yes, you know, that I read every morning. It's like, these are the skills that make me me. You know, these are my Clifton strengths. Like, these are the 5 top things that I strive on and that I'm great at. And I'll look at that list every morning. It's in my notes app, along with a few affirmations, you know, of how I want my day to go, you know, and it helps give me that reminder before the grind starts, before I'm up making breakfast, before I'm getting the kids ready, you know, for me to really take that time to say, okay, I have the ability to control this day as much as I can.
That's what it is. That is when you know you have to change, and not just with law, but with anything in life.
Right.
When you get to a point where the thing you love has become the thing that takes away from who you are, is when you know you need to make a change.
And the thing about boundaries is that you have to also respect your own boundaries. Boundaries don't work.
That is
struggle
Boundaries
sometimes.
don't work when you don't even respect your own boundaries, when you're constantly letting people come into this time that you have set aside yourself, even your children, you know, because self-care, and I know that's something that you are an extreme advocate about.
Yes, ma'am.
It's very, very important, especially when you are a working mom and you have to juggle so many different balls. You have to make sure that you allocate time for yourself.
Another thing that I can tell you that I had to be my authentic self, and this really truly hit home for me after the incident with George Floyd, and I realized that it was the big talk about the African American and people of color and all of those things, and I remember having a conversation with someone and hanging up, and they kept referring to me as an African American, and I was like, okay, but why not black? Because I'm a black woman, and there is literally so much freaking power in black. And why am I saying that? Why am I just not saying I'm a black woman? Why am I saying I'm an African American woman? I was like, I hadn't been to Africa, but maybe 6 years ago, but the first time, you know. And so it was because it made everyone. It was politically correct, and it made everyone else feel comfortable, but at my expense. So why am I making others feel comfortable at my own expense?
I'm going to start to suffer.
Right.
And I won't be Tara anymore, like the Tara the lawyer that I was. So, and I was definitely not Tara the mom I wanted to be, or Tara the wife I wanted to be. So it's time to change.
Right.
And I left, but I still do to this day, practice the same kind of law, do the same kind of work, but in a setting that I feel is much less stressful
And
for
more
me.
conducive to what you want to do.
More conducive to me practicing law, being a mom, being a wife, being myself,
Right.
having time for everything that I want to do, and none of those things suffering too much at any given time. Because let's be real, like no matter what you do, you ain't gonna do everything perfect.
Of course.
All the time.
Of course.
Always. Something's gotta give.
Right.
And me being a mom, there are gonna be times when, and I say to myself, there will be days when you are an amazing lawyer, but just an okay mom.
Right.
And there will be days when you're an amazing mom and just an okay lawyer.
Right.
And you add a wife into that mix. Like there will be days when you're great or not so great at those things, but it cannot be one thing is suffering so much that you are completely oblivious to what's going on.
So for women that may be dealing with something that's similar or having those similar feelings, what would you say to them?
I would say this, I think this is important, that you're not being a bad mom, you're not being a bad boss, right? You're giving 100% of you, and that's enough. Because once you start talking down on yourself, saying, oh, I'm being a bad mom, or I'm being a bad, that adds up. What do you think that's doing to your confidence and your self-esteem or whatever?
And your productivity level.
You know, you got to remember you are that girl, right? Keep that confidence every single day. Talk life into yourself. Don't talk down on yourself and say, oh, I'm not doing a good job. Oh man, I can do better. Because that will eat away at you at some point, right? You got to just know, like, I'm doing my best. All right, I know my kids don't understand right now. I got to get this deadline. This is a federal deadline. You know, they'll be okay today. Tomorrow we'll go to the park or whatever. But don't talk down on yourself. You're doing an amazing job.
What advice?
Your marriage, in your children's life, or whatever, you have to be able to balance. It's like it's a dance.
Yes.
It's a dance, right? Nothing's ever gonna be in perfect balance,
Right?
But it's a dance you do. Today this will weigh more on the scale. Tomorrow this will weigh more. But it can be one thing kind of just taking all the weight and nothing else is getting any attention. So that's really what it is. And that's kind of, you know, if I'm being legally unapologetic,
I love it.
That's what it is.
That's what it
is. You gotta
is.
take care of you so you could be your best self as a lawyer, and me as a mom, as a wife, all that good stuff. You gotta take care of you.
Can I just say one last thing?
Yes.
I just want to make sure this is very clear, and I just want to share this from my own personal experience, that anything is possible. You can do whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Just because the path doesn't look clear and it doesn't look like everyone else's does not mean that you cannot get it done. And so I say that just specifically, like being a young mother, I was surprised by some of the doubters or people who just thought that I couldn't do what I wanted to do. But going through it and actually experiencing the journey for myself, you have to be able to pivot at times, but anything is possible. You can accomplish whatever it is you want to do, and never, ever, ever be afraid to bet on yourself.
My sister tribe, and if it wasn't for them, there would be many times where I, would have just like, I'm done. I don't have it in me. I don't, and I don't think all the time. I think your sister tribe, what's so great about it is sometimes just them being them, not even talking about your issues, is exactly what you need. Or them actually giving you your flowers or celebrating you is exactly what you need. It's almost like it's that gas to fuel you to keep going. I can take on this next battle because at the end of the day, I have someone that's looking at me and giving me my flowers and saying, you know what? You're not dimming your light. They don't want me to dim my light. And when I dim my own light, they're like, nope, I'm gonna shine it brighter than you could have done, because sometimes you just need that. And that's the truth. And vice versa. And you then turn around and you do the same thing. It's a cyclical relationship because we all need it. We definitely need it. And
what advice would you give to anyone that may feel like, damn, I got other interests out there. I want to tap into those other interests. Maybe I even want to start a business, but I'm not sure I can in the midst of practicing law.
Okay. Well, first of all, we need to talk about imposter syndrome a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think that happens to the best of us. And we don't talk about it enough, or maybe we do, but we don't
talk about it enough.
We don't know what's happening enough, right? You have a thought in your head that you want to do something, but you just don't act on it because you just think you're not good enough, or you start doubting yourself, or you start letting those negative thoughts come in. It's very important, like I said, to speak life into yourself, knowing that you can do anything that you want to do. But imposter syndrome, it really gets the best of, I think, a lot of people. You can own your own firm, you could become partner within a year, whatever it is, right? But at the end of the day, you're still gonna be like, am I good enough, or do I belong here? Even as a content creator, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, am I supposed to be here? And I've gone viral. I've been on like Nick Cannon's show. I had Beyonce Mama repost.
Miss Tina reposted you.
I love her.
Oh, shout out Miss Tina, repost legally unapologetic.
I've had stuff like 14 million views, and I will sit back, like, I will disappear because I'm like, I'm not supposed to really be here. So let me just back up a little bit. You're supposed to be here. You need a seat at this table. You deserve a seat at that table. You got this. Now I have that title as content creator. I'm like, it's kind of scary because you're tapping into something completely different. But so it's easy to let imposter syndrome creep in a little bit, and so it's important. I think if someone has a thought of doing something outside of their norm, the fact that thought is even creeping in your head is enough for you to tap into it, right?
That means you're supposed to be doing it.
Tap into it, like figure out what it is that you're supposed to be doing, figure out your passion. Not everything is about work, there's another side to it. And just see what you like to do and figure it out, and don't let imposter syndrome creep in.
I like that.
That's not how that should work. And yeah, I'll still say, yep, I'm African American if it comes out, but I'm also saying I'm a Black woman. I have no problem. Like, there's strength in that. You need to understand that. And I'm a Black woman, so when you ask me when I teach my niece, when I teach my god kids, it's like, yeah, my daughter, you are a Black woman. And be comfortable and be proud of that. And if you want to say you're African American, make it because you want to say it, not because somebody else or you're trying to make other people feel comfortable. At the end of the day, you have to make yourself comfortable. Never ever dim your light, and never ever make someone else comfortable at the expense of yourself.